Welcome to the whole 9 yards. Hello again, everyone. I'm Ralph Ventre. Only 2 weeks of the regular season remain. We are down to the wire. It's crunch time. Duquesne has a bye, but as we know, they will play for at least a share of the title in Week 12. This week, we have our NEC football on ESPN3 wildcard game. That features Bryant, which is also in the mix for a share of the title and possibly the automatic bid to the FCS playoffs. We have another meaningful matchup with St. Francis U taking on Robert Morris, and then 2 teams looking to close out strong with Wagner and Central. There is a ton of football to dissect and preview. It's crunch time, baby. So won't you take a ride with me in this No Huddle preview? We start with Central Connecticut visiting Wagner. Now the visiting Blue Devils are coming off a tough loss against St. Francis U, a loss that knocked them from first place in the NEC standings. The Blue Devils still have an indirect chance of claiming a share of the Northeast Conference crown, but it's a long shot at best. Still, there's plenty for Central Connecticut to play for in its season finale at Wagner. For one, a winning conference record is on the line. Secondly, you have a young team that has gotten better by the week. Will they cap off their development with a punctuation mark on Saturday? Then there's Wagner, still looking to break into the win column, but showing some signs of life. Wagner tight end Ryan Owens has been a real mismatch problem for opponents this year. That was the case last week against Bryant. It will be interesting to see how Central Connecticut plans on slowing down the burly tight end who has deceptive speed and great strength. Special teams, especially the kick return game, should be important in this one. Wagner fell victim to a kickoff return touchdown last week against Bryant, while Central Connecticut's lone touchdown against St. Francis last week came courtesy of Najee Brown's kick run back for 6. Tune in on Saturday, front row, 12 noon, Wagner hosting Central, 2 teams looking to finish strong. Game 2 of 3 on the Week 11 docket, we go to Loretto, where Chris Valerio has been presiding over a renaissance. The Red Flash have had their 3 most successful seasons at the FCS level each of the past 3 years. This year, they're on the cusp of taking the next step. A victory in Week 11 over a Robert Morris team would give St. Francis its first 6-win season as a Division I FCS team. The Red Flash, who were tabbed for a 5th place finish in the preseason coaches poll, are also playing for a title. A win over Robert Morris this Saturday means that the Red Flash's Week 12 bout with Duquesne would be for a share of the conference crown. So how has St. Francis done it, you ask? Well, it's been a slow culture change under Valerio's leadership. The former 11-year NFL veteran, offensive lineman for both the Bills and the Bears, has instilled a smash-mouth style of football while preaching toughness and accountability amongst his players. One thing that's helped this season has been a jolt to the passing game thanks to the play of quarterback Zach Dreher. Dreher has thrown for at least 250 yards in each of his past 3 outings. It also helps to have the big play capability of receiver Terrell Smith, the former NEC Offensive Player of the Week, averaging 18.5 yards per reception. Now this could wind up being a special season for St. Francis, but Robert Morris has other ideas. This is a rivalry game. Two local Keystone State rivals. Robert Morris has shown phenomenal growth as the season has gone on, and now that he's healthy, freshman quarterback Matthew Barr looks comfortable. He had his most impressive performance last week in a fourth quarter comeback, a 21-9 win over East Tennessee State. He hooked up with Kyle Buss on an 84-yard touchdown with under 4 minutes to play. Now Kyle Buss, he's been on fire for Robert Morris. 160 yards in our featured NEC game on ESPN3 2 weeks ago at Central. Then last week, he torched East Tennessee State for 138 yards. He has set all of Robert Morris's freshman receiving records. If St. Francis wants to secure the win, they'll have to find a way to slow the bus. How will safety Lorenzo Jerome and company respond to that challenge? Well, you'll find out right here on NEC Front Row, Saturday, live from DeGaulle Field. Moving on to the third and final game on the Week 11 docket, the NEC football on ESPN3 featured game of the week. It's the wild card game. It's two-time defending champion Sacred Heart visiting Bryant. They met at the same time last season. It was a memorable battle for first place. Sacred Heart secured the NEC's automatic bid to the FCS playoffs thanks to this Tyler Doobie touchdown late in the fourth quarter. This time around, however, only Bryant will be playing with title implications on the line. Sacred Heart, which has been banged up by injuries throughout the season, suffered its third conference loss last week and fell out of title contention. Still, don't underestimate the Pioneers' will to win in this one. Sacred Heart head coach Mark Nofri has his team focusing on the fact that they can produce the program's third consecutive winning season. Then, of course, there's the rivalry between Bryant and Sacred Heart. In terms of beating Bryant on Saturday and moving toward another winning record, the Pioneers certainly have the talent to do it. Case number one, Tyler Doobie. He's fourth in all of FCS in receiving yards. He has tied Sacred Heart's all-time career touchdown record with 37. No one has been able to slow him down this season. Will Bryant's secondary, Chucky Wingate, Brandon Dagnes's, will they be able to contain Tyler Doobie? If you do lock up Doobie, then you have to worry about Jackson King or the veteran Moses Webb sneaking free underneath. Webb is actually playing both ways, both receiver and defensive back the last few weeks. We shift the focus over to Bryant's offense now. The Bulldogs have quite a talented receiver in their own. It's Chad Ward, averaging more than 18 yards per catch and has a knack for the big play. Then, of course, there's Dalton Easton, the leading passer in the Northeast Conference. 19 touchdowns to only 9 interceptions. And, of course, Rico McCray, 998 yards, 2 away from 1,000. He leads all NEC rushers. There are plenty of reasons to watch this one on ESPN3, and the intense rivalry between the two sides is definitely one of them.
Sacred Heart has been a terrific football contest for us to be in for the last 5 or 6 years. They got us last year, but they've been good close games every year, back and forth, back and forth. We beat them a couple of times. They beat us the last couple. This will be a terrific football game.
The No Huddle preview is in the books. Now I only have a couple of these left. I'm going to take one. Give me a Twitter timeout. It's time to feature an NEC-related tweet from the past week in social media. This one comes courtesy of Brian Batko, the reporter for the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette. He was obviously busy covering Pitt against Notre Dame last week, but he still kept his eye on what was unfolding in the Northeast Conference. he sent out this tweet about Duquesne earlier. And yes, Duquesne went on to win that match over Sacred Heart. And yes, they are in good shape for at least a share of first place in the conference standings. The Dukes have a Week 11 bye. If they win their finale in Week 12, they will at the very least be co-champions. Hopefully, Brian Batko will be on the bluff for that game, Week 12. And now it's time for some X's and O's. We feature one key player on the offensive side of the ball. We then shift the spotlight over to a prime defensive performer. But for the second week in a row, I'm calling a bit of an audible. We will feature a special teamer in this segment. Last week it was Wagner punter Brian Rafano. This week it's St. Francis kicker, iron-legged Lance Giese. There's only one way to put it. Giese has been in the zone this season. 16 for 17 on field goal attempts. That's a .941 conversion percentage. You hardly even see that at the pro level. Giese is perfect from 40 and under. From the 40 to 49 yard range, he's 5 of 6. Only a missed 47-yard attempt earlier in the season at ETSU. He has yet to attempt from beyond 50, but if called on to do so, you better believe iron-legged Lance will be up to the task. This past week, Giese earned National Special Teams Player of the Week honors from Stats Inc. That came after he set an NEC single-game record with 5 field goals made in a 22-13 win over Central Connecticut State. For his career, Giese has made 45 field goals. That's only one shy of the NEC's all-time mark of 46 held by Sacred Heart's Chris Rogers. Now we throw it over to the defensive side. Well, is it really the defensive side? It's Moses Webb. It's Sacred Heart's Moses Webb. Most of you know Moses for his receiving ability on offense. He burst onto the scene a couple of years ago with this memorable play in a victory over Monmouth. He made SportsCenter. The Pioneers went on to win their first of 2 NEC championships, but Moses didn't fizzle out after those 15 minutes of fame. He's still going strong in his senior season and proving to be the ultimate team player. The Sacred Heart secondary has been decimated by injuries this season, so Moses has stepped up to play some defensive back while also holding a position on offense as a receiver. So there it is. Our next to last episode of the regular season is in the books, but we still have the games to play on Saturday. 3 good ones, all conference contest. The featured game, Sacred Heart and Bryant on ESPN3. Then the other 2 will be live for free and in HD at necfrontrow.com. Thanks for joining me for this Week 11 edition of the Whole 9 Yards. For NEC Front Row, I'm Ralph Ventre. I'll see you next week and have a lot of fun on Saturday.